Hey everyone, it's Michaela from Ascend Smarter Intervention, where we make research-based reading intervention easy. Today, I want to walk you through some of our tips on how to thrive in an online intervention space as opposed to just surviving. Now, a little bit of background on why we chose to do this video this week. We have had so many conversations amongst our team, with teachers, SLPs, interventionists, all kinds of educational professionals over the last few months, and the overwhelming response that we're hearing is, let's just get through the summer. With online intervention being new, especially in the quarantine times and with schools being shut down, it was new and it was a lot to get used to for most of us. So a lot of the responses were, you know what, let's just keep our head above water, let's get to the summer, and then things can go back to normal. Well, now we're seeing that even though we're hitting summertime, schools are starting to say that in the fall they might stay online, or there might be at least a hybrid instruction model where some of the intervention or instruction will remain online. So we can't just take this let's survive mentality, but we really wanted to show you that even though it's scary and even though it can be uncomfortable to transition to online intervention, if we can as a community lean into this discomfort, we can absolutely thrive in this setting and teach our kids how to thrive here as well. So if you're interested, stick with me. We're going to go through our top 3 tips to online intervention. So our first tip is we have to shift this mindset. Now, let me be clear. We have all heard that there is nothing like in-person intervention, the ability to build rapport with kids and just to give them a high five at the end of a session and really get to see them in person. It's unparalleled. However, if we just stick with that mindset, we're going to miss a lot of the absolutely beautiful and amazing opportunities that online intervention can give us. When we think about in-person intervention, we're either restricted to one school if we're working in a school, or if you're in a private practice like we are, we're restricted to the students that have the ability to get to our office. And that can be a time constraint. That could be that mom and dad are working and can't drive them to the office. There are a lot of factors that go into them not being able to get there. Now, if you're a traveling clinician and you're going to meet them, that puts a lot of constraints on you because you have to work on scheduling who's going to be where, and you have to take all the materials with you. Students are going to forget their materials, and it makes it a bit of a headache if we're being honest. Whereas with online intervention, we can see students all over the place. I see students that aren't even in the same state that I am in because of online intervention. And we have since before COVID started and made us go online. So luckily for those students, we were able to work with students that were older and online intervention worked. We know that with quarantine, some of our younger students or those that for online isn't optimal, we had to make work too. But in terms of a private practice, if you are able to see students online, that reduces a lot of the barriers to instruction there. Now, another great thing for online is that all of your materials, as long as they're online accessible, are already at your fingertips. I can't tell you how many times either my students have forgotten their binder, or I've traveled to see a student and forgotten my instructor manual or the game that I wanted to play, and it is frustrating. So with online materials, you can see all of them already there, which takes me into my second tip is to make or purchase digitally compatible materials. So let me show you what I mean. When we are working with students, we will share their lessons in a Google Doc. I have just 3 here in my sample student folder to show you all today. So that a student can click in, we'll share the doc with them and with their parents, and they've got the lessons here and in an interactive format. So we can go through and they can move pieces for phonological awareness. If this is a CK lesson, we might say, what's a word that rhymes with crack, maybe quack, black, whatever they want to put in there. What word do these syllables make? Backpack. They can type in their answers. We can go through the sound drill like normal. They can slide pieces around to make it more interactive than just putting cards up on a screen, holding up the sound drill and kind of flipping through it. The online interactive gives you that next level of engagement. So we have all of these different activities that we can do with them. They can highlight certain pieces. And one of the best parts is since it's a Google Doc or a Google slide, when I log off of a session and I tell my students, okay, I want you to finish these sentences for homework, I can log off, I can go up to my next session, and then before I see this student again, they'll go into their folder, open the lesson, complete the homework, and it'll save in here for me to see. So we can slide these pieces around. They can do that at home, and we're able to log in and see it, which reduces the amount of back and forth I need to give with the parents in order to give and receive their homework. I had been saying, okay, I'm going to email you homework. I would snip the PDF to get just the page I wanted, email it to mom, she'd print it out. My students would fill it in by hand, they'd take a picture or scan it back in, send it to me, and then I'd have to look at the handwriting. And that's a lot of work, and it's work that we're all willing to do for our students, but this makes it so much easier. So not only are the online interactive materials helpful in the sense that you've got that engagement level, you've got the interaction, but it definitely helps with the homework as well. With the organization of online materials also comes tip number 3, which is to stay organized. I will have a Google folder like that for all of my students where I just put in the new lesson each week, but I also have my big old data tracking binder here as well. So each of these tabs that you see, open it a little bit, is a different one of my students, or represents a different one of my students, where I'll have their data tracking sheets behind it so that each week I can open up my binder. We'll go to a lesson here and we'll say, okay, I open up my binder, I see that Timmy did lesson 2 last week, this week we're on lesson 3. Or Charlie's going to do lesson 14 because last week he did lesson 13. I can also see their data patterns. We take data in every lesson and it's all right in one binder, so it's a quick access for me to see. So to recap those 3 tips, 1, let's shift our mindset and really think about how many benefits online instruction can offer. 2, either adapt your materials to fit the online scope or find a program that offers digitally compatible materials. And 3 is to stay organized, especially when we're online. It's easy to kind of have things everywhere since we don't have necessarily the ability to go see a student with all of the games and things like that. But it's still just as critical to remain organized so that you can optimize your instruction to really thrive in this space. If you have questions, please comment below and we will be sure to answer them. And we wish you the best of luck as you continue with your online instruction. Bye, everybody.